The air, thick with ozone and the memory of cold coffee, hums low in the belly of the old substation. Dust motes dance in the weak glow of a single neon tube, sickly green against the kente cloth draped over the salvaged console. Outside, 1966 bleeds neon into a sky heavy with rain, while 2036 whispers secrets through the cracked glass of a borrowed dial.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
First up, a river in the UK has been granted legal rights, pitting ancient natural autonomy against persistent human pollution.
The River Wye, a 215-kilometer waterway, faces severe ecological collapse from agricultural runoff, particularly nitrates and phosphates from over 500 poultry farms along its banks. This pollution exposes over 300,000 residents in its catchment to compromised water quality and threatens species like Atlantic salmon. A direct alternative path before this legal rights move would have been the UK Environment Agency enforcing existing Water Framework Directive regulations more stringently, levying fines and mandating nutrient management plans for farms, but enforcement has been historically lax.
Granting the Wye personhood isn't just a legal maneuver, it's a return to an ancestral understanding where rivers are kin, not commodities. Imagine the river itself, not just a line on a map, but a living entity, now with a voice in court, like a wizened elder speaking for its own banks and currents, carrying the weight of its own provenance.
Patching in a caller, the skeptic. You're on the signal.
So, who actually pays when a river sues? Does this mean local farmers bear the entire cost of cleanup and face legal battles, potentially forcing them out of business? What's the economic impact on the rural communities that rely on these farms? And is that a fair trade-off for the river's newfound dignity?
Coffee's cold. Doesn't matter. The signal is warm and the board is reading clean. That question of who bears the cost of environmental shifts is critical, caller. It reminds us that nature's pushback isn't always through a courtroom. Sometimes it's a sudden, overwhelming force, as we're seeing with extreme weather events, which leads us to our next signal.
Debrief like designers, log the friction, script a small rule bend, and try it live.
Specifically, Guangdong and Guangxi provinces have seen record rainfall, displacing over 110,000 people and causing direct economic losses estimated at 4 billion yuan in Guangdong alone, impacting millions in vulnerable rural communities. Before these immediate disasters, a viable alternative was a larger national investment in nature-based solutions, like extensive reforestation and wetland restoration in upper river basins to naturally absorb excess rainfall, rather than relying solely on hard infrastructure like dams and levees downstream.
This isn't merely bad weather, it's the land speaking, demanding attention to our imbalanced stewardship. The ancestral wisdom of living with the water, not just against it, comes into sharp relief when mountainsides melt into mudslides. It's a stark reminder that the earth carries the memory of every felled tree and redirected stream, a cultural signal of reciprocity unheeded.
With such massive displacement and economic damage, who shoulders the burden for reconstruction and long-term adaptation? Is this primarily a provincial government responsibility, or does the national government step in with significant aid? And how much of this is covered by insurance, if any, for ordinary citizens? Or are we just watching communities get washed away with no recourse?
Switching frequencies, next signal, escapes, fires, stabbing, catastrophic security failures revealed in. The question of accountability and who pays for systemic failures, whether environmental or infrastructural, resonates globally. It brings to mind situations where the very systems meant to provide security are failing from within, as evidenced in Australia. Our final signal points to Australia, where revelations of escapes, fires, and stabbings expose catastrophic security failures within its immigration detention network. Precisely, caller. The cost of maintaining a system that fundamentally contradicts dignity and consent is always astronomical, both in ledger and in spirit. It forces us back to the core mandate, building resilient inner and civic architectures that favor consent, provenance, and dignity, That's the true measure of our sovereignty.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Continue the signal at TogeeVision.com. Tune in, Sparks and Stories, Gig Passport.